Hi, Leos. My Leos. I apologize for being so late with these readings. It's going to be like mid-month reading. I'm going to give you a little bit of tips into the next month until I come back for, the following month's readings. I usually call this the homework family readings, but spirits told me start changing it to home light security. And this is about checking in with our soulfulness, more or less, seeing what the energies are that are going on the universal scale versus directly kind of connecting it with your personal astrology. And I tell everybody who follows these readings, you see right down there below, it's telling you how to interpret these readings because they're more than just a sun, moon, and rising video. You need to know how to interpret it from your sun sign, from your moon sign, your rising sign, and it will help you to understand. And if you're a Leo, but like for me, I'm a Leo, but my moon is Cancer. So maybe the Leo reading isn't resonating with me. And then I tell people, well, then go check out your rising sign or your moon sign because you may be more in your manifestation, you may be more in your emotions. Anyway, I'm just trying to explain that so as you move forward. I will get into some cards here in a minute because at the moment I don't have anybody specifically speaking to me. But we, as Leos, we are moving on the equinox. The sun will move out of Pisces and into Aries. Okay, so this is a new 6 month cycle that's about to begin. All right, in one form. And and you're coming from your eighth house to your ninth house. And what spirit is giving me is check in with yourself as we approach, after the equinox, maybe even now, and we start moving forward. Check in with yourself because I'm getting what they're giving me is inflexible confession, inflexible confession. But the confession is with ourselves. The confession is to ourselves, about ourselves, coming to notice ourselves, coming to be honest with ourselves. And that's because when the sun enters your ninth house, you're coming into a spiritual connection. So you may have been being too hard on yourself. You're being a little too inflexible, a little stubborn, and in some cases there's a little fear of change, trying to push a little hard to receive, working a little too hard at the moment. But we're going to see as we come into the ninth house and we step into that spiritual connection, if we can let our guard down with ourself, then a new level of spiritual communication, a new level of spiritual truth is going to come forward, and creativity. But what they're saying is well, what are you afraid of? And they go, well, what are you afraid of? And then they give me, well, self-judgment is what you're afraid of. And so this is about not judging ourselves, not holding, I don't want to say not holding yourself responsible, but not trying to hold yourself responsible for everything. I mean, like everything that happens to everybody around you. This is about learning to truly feel and being able to bring out, your feelings honestly, and not hiding it from the world, certain parts of it. It's coming into your energy and learning how to heal on that level. What is this? Hold up. I gotta check something. Yeah, they're saying, what are you holding back from the world? What are you afraid will come from letting go? But they're also saying being inflexible and thinking you know everything and trying to speak with authority, but you can't fully do it when there is a part of you that still fears your own inner authority. Slow down is Stop trying to go at the pace that you want to go. You've got to go at the pace that's best for you. Now, well, let me grab this deck here and see if it's just going to be one deck or two, and then I'll get into the astrology. What does Leo's need to hear? Oh, this card's wrong. Okay, what do Leos need to hear as we go through the end of March and the beginning of the next month? Okay, this is Hawthorne. But see, I don't read these cards according to the herbal sense. For me, okay, first take a good look at this card. It's the tree of life, but it's showing you all four directions in a form because there's four bubbles here. There's the sun, there's the water, and there's the mountains and mountains on both sides. But so this is saying, are you taking everything into you? Are you separating the things at the same time? Understand that with the tree of life, there is an above and a below. But when I do on a shaman level, I always explain when you get into the tree of life and you get really into the branches. That's what I call the wastelands. So it's more than just this or that. And that's what I'm getting from this. There's so much more to you. There's so much more to the subject, so much more to the plot of you and where you're going that you can't just this or that. You have to be able to flow into all areas and come into understanding who and what you are. You have to let, what I'm getting is some of what it is you're going to be learning. You have to let the dead of you off to the dead of you and being able to willing to flow. Now, let me see what else. Is there anything else here from Leo? And stop holding on to the I could have, should have, would have. I could have done this. I would have done it that way. If I did this, no, that'll make you crazy. What's done is done. There's no more I could have, should have, would have. That's the supernatural highway between the heart and the head, or the heart and the third eye, or the heart and the crown, the heart and the brain, trying to manipulate the subject. And all that does is go back and forth and make you crazy. And that's actually keeping you from truly tapping in. So it's in any of these other areas. But you notice what I'm trying to get at is they're all different areas that you stretch into. But your soul, your big part of your here and now, is the center, where is the center that's shining. There's parts of you that are on all different levels, but are they all connecting with your oneness? Are they all connecting with your source energy? I can't make it up. It's vervain, but this card specifically says to let the magic in, to allow yourself to allow the flow, allow the spiritual truths, allow the connection to all come forward. Slow down and stop trying to, butcher your way forward. And you may be feeling heavy, and the heaviness is also starting to tap into you not being able to create, not being able to get in with your inner creativity, your inner child, your inner enjoyment. Hawthorne came back up, so give me just a second. I am kind of a little curious since it came back up when I shuffled again as to what it may say, because if it came back up, it's either going yes, exactly what she said, or no, and I want you to read. So let me find it. Yeah, well, where is it in here? Remembers the time when local gods watched over. frolicking with mischief in her branches because she's supposed to be the god. She's remembering all of her limbs. She is stretching her beads and glittering into the sun and shaping into the winds and playing in the flags. Wow. Offering offerings to the land itself, the gods who kept alive the vital conduit between the spirit and the matter. This is exactly what I was talking about. The tree of life, allowing all of you to come forward, allowing all of you to flow, all of your different areas. Stop trying to categorize characterize it, but characterize you. There are different parts and branches of you. Um, this is saying it's not part of the past. It is part of who and what you are. Allow yourself to nourish yourself through all of these connections. All right. Is there anything else? Yeah, I knew there was another deck. Before I grab the other deck, this was the last card that came out. Remembrance. This is remembering who you are, allowing yourself to become exactly who and what you are as you move forward, because you're coming into that spiritual house. So you're about to learn a lot more about yourself, which that's a good thing. It's just every time we learn, it kind of is difficult because there's things we have to learn. Inner truths. I can't make it up. Inner truths. The window of the heart, insight, clarity, purity, consciousness, and penetrating the illusion itself. So, I mean, this is definitely a very good thing. This is just telling you slow down and allow that growth to take place. When we get into the astrology itself, Leos, like I said, we are in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're in the 8th house, moving into the 9th house. Now, the 8th house could have been very dreamy for this last month or very hard and push and shove, depending on how you are viewing it. It is Pisces energy. It is illusion and delusion. It's fantasy and reality. So your relationship with spirit could have been a little bit way off the chain or completely off the chain and nowhere near connection. Your relationship with the people in your life could have been the exact same way. Understand, relationships are any and everything you care about, from your friends, your families, your children, your loved ones, your work friends. And you have a relationship with your money. When you have no money, you know all about that relationship with that money. But we're talking about it being in the 8th house. So are these relationships, are you just clobbering over everybody? Or are they maybe clobbering all over you? And the reason why I say that is because the 8th house is where we either set the rules, walls, and boundaries, we shift them in a way to where our relationships grow, mature, and survive, can thrive and continue to go on, or we see where it's past its expiration and the relationship really can't grow and go anywhere anymore, or it's not good or healthy for you. So you're looking at it from these views. You've had Jupiter here, which is bringing abundance to the rules, the walls, rules, walls, and boundaries of these relationships. You have magic here, which is Neptune, setting, are you paying good attention? Are you living in illusion or delusion? Are you living in the truth, fantasy, or reality of what is really going on in these relationships? And are you being valued or are you being manipulated? And there's a chance for either, depending on who and what you are. We're looking at it from that point of view. But Mercury has been here, and Mercury is going to move out on the 27th. This is where it throws this energy off, because Mercury with Jupiter, Neptune, the sun, all in that 8th house, kind of gives it a Mercury retrograde feel until the 27th, which means you may have been in your head too much, thinking this, that, this, like I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I wish I would have said that. I should have done this. Well, what if? That shit's done and over with. But it's saying the Mercury retrograde, the inner chatter, may be giving you the false idea as to the proper rules, walls, and boundaries. What they're saying is open your eyes. Jupiter's abundance is there for you to see the truth if you're willing to see it. And then you can create from there and make it as abundant, whether it's positive or negative, as you want, according to if you're actually seeing what needs to happen in the relationship zone. Now it's leaving the relationship zone, the sun and Mercury. Mercury leaves on the 27th. The sun leaves on the 20th, which is the equinox. And it goes into equinox, I believe, is actually on the 22nd, but I could be wrong. But they're going into your ninth house. Now, the ninth house is Aries for you. And this is your spiritual connection. This is not just your spiritual connection and your psychic connection, but this is where you really start to tap into the ethics and the morals, the truths, the facts of what you believe, where you want to take that belief. Are you willing to grow and mature on a spiritual level? This is also, what you're willing to learn, tapping into your dreams and seeing things from a whole new level and growing in this way. You have Chiron here. Okay, the sun is coming in to start illuminating that ninth house. And what will you do with this energy? But you have Chiron here, which is saying off the bat, there's parts of your psychic energy, there's parts of your spiritual energy, your spiritual connection, there's parts of that spiritual belief from what we've been taught, from the higher knowledge and the higher learning and the waters from the spiritual connection. There's parts here that you still believe what you was taught, and the true is it's spinning properly, because Chiron is a wounded healer. He hasn't healed all the wounds. So this is saying there's parts in the spiritual that you're about to grow and mature in if you'll allow it to happen. You'll come into seeing new ethics and morals, see a new bigger picture, learn a more spiritual connection, connect more with your psychic energy, if you will allow it to happen. But this is the problem. It's Aries, meaning you have to stick with it. It's something that might start off with the good intention, but if you actually had to work for it, or you had to stick with not being heavy and taking on too much because you're taking on more than you can handle, then it shuts down the inner child. It shuts down the inner creativity, and then it won't allow it to flow properly. So this is saying that if you strategically are setting the rules, the walls, the boundaries in these relationships, it will help that maturing growth come as you approach the next month. And it will allow you the time you need, the rest you need, the inner meditation and source energy to be able to flow within you, because you've been creating that to work for you. So that's actually a very beautiful thing if you're doing this. But like I said, Aries energies are, I got this brilliant idea, I'm going to do this, and then wait a minute, I got to work for that. Never mind, I don't want to do all that. And this is saying you've got to stick to it. You've got to stick to making sure those rules, walls, and boundaries are there, so that your inner security, your inner sanctum, and your inner growth is able to take place. Now, as you go into your 10th house, now you're looking at the outer world and the authority of the outer world. This is where Uranus is, but more importantly, this is where the North Node is. And on a universal scale, that's the second house. So this is, for one, where manifestation starts to come from, how you feel about yourself. You're talking about in your 10th house, the outer world, the outer authority, your outer society, as well as your own honor, reputation, how you're viewed, your prestige, your career, your social foundations itself. And we're looking at you being able to independently being known and seen for who and what you are, instead of the world trying to go, well, it's going to be this way. Because you have to realize that's the that's the 10th house. And the 10th house is the outer authority of the society. in a form in your career area. So this is saying the outer world is used to having things this way. It's a Taurus energy. It's trying to set its independence, individuality, its uniqueness, its freedom, its power. And are you gonna just take it, or are you gonna go, no, 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 I'm an individual, and this is the way I individually am gonna set up my life so that it works for me. Okay, because the North Node is coming in here saying in order for you to have the individuality you want, you have to understand how the outer world works, but you also have to have the power to stand in your power and not take the authority of the outer world as a final say. But this is my soul, my independence, my individuality, my life. And I have the right to make these decisions and put yourself in that power. Okay, so this is, you're going to be looking at that for the whole year and learning how to come into power for yourself more. If you're an independent creator or business, then this is a good time for you to start learning how to come into that independent power. As you go into the 11th house, it's talking about the people that you keep, your committees, your groups, your memberships. And are these people of the outer world helping support you nurture everything that you're trying to bring to the outer world? Or is it pulling from you? It's asking this of you, and it's asking that of you, and it's asking this of you, and it's actually forcing you to neglect things that do support you. So it's asking you, when you're looking at the groups and the memberships and the teams that you're a part of in the outer world, is it nurturing where you're trying to grow, or is it forcing you to neglect things that are very necessary in order for you to grow? And it's showing you exactly which one it is so that you can decide how to shift that as you move forward in the next month. Now, your fourth house has now become important because now you have the South Node here. And it is your fourth house. So this is saying, this is where our inner emotional security is. This is getting to the roots of ourself by tapping into where we're lacking the inner emotional security. The South Node is everything that you are good at, but it's not good for you. You've outgrown it. It doesn't serve you. So where are you holding on to parts and ideas of who and what you are and what brings the inner emotional security to you that really don't support you anymore? Where is it giving you the idea that this is who you are, or the roots of what created you to be who you are, but you're holding on to a false truth because you're more than that? Where has it become comfortable for you to believe and feel about yourself and your home that this is acceptable and we can continue to do this? See, because Scorpio is all about birth, death, and rebirth, and it is now in your inner emotional security. It's in your fourth house. It is the home and who and what you are. So where are you not admitting? This is why Spirit was saying part of this next month is kind of like an inflexible confession. Where are you having to confess to yourself where your inner emotional security is not the truth? And you have to change and grow with it to get to the truth, to start trusting in yourself, your heart, your soul, your inner root, and get back to the true you that's more than just flesh and bone. This is asking you to get not just to the roots of yourself, but the true foundation of yourself, the true self itself. And where are parts of you in denial of that? Because you'll be acknowledging that all year. Now, your seventh house coming full circle is really got all kinds of energy in it. It could be good, it could be bad. It depends on how you're taking it. Because the seventh house for you is the relationship zone. And we've been speaking about you coming into knowing who you are, acknowledging where you are within the relationships, seeing your truth within the relationships versus how the relationships are supporting you or not supporting you. Now, this is the truth of the relationship itself, not just all of that built you and where you're trying to take you, but this is showing you the relationships and their value. And the reason I say that is you have Mars and you have Venus here. This is speaking to you about having courage to stand up and be unique and individual. This is speaking about you coming into the value of yourself, but you also have Saturn here directly in the relationship zone. So, and I keep using this as an example. We are not the Smiths. I mean, you may be a family or you may be a couple, but you are not the Smiths. I am Michelle. You are you. We may come together, but I am my own unique individual. And within these relationships, so are you. So are you getting to explore that? Are you getting to be that? Are you starting to feel that in you? Are coming into the power in these relationships? And are you allowing yourself as well as the people in your relationships to be exactly who they are? You are having rules, walls, and boundaries, Saturn here, saying, let's take some chances and explore this. Allow yourself to be seen in these relationships. Bring yourself forward a little bit more because this is the key to taking the inside of you into the exterior because Vista is here. And Vista is the keys that unlock the doors to having the best relationships, having the best people in your relationships who love you truly for who you want you are, support you by acknowledging which ones deserve to be there because they truly cherish you versus the ones who don't. But who has to cherish you first is you so that you can then set the rules, walls, and boundaries that you need. I love you guys. I will see you next month.